Okay, so regarding yesterday's homework, part of it was the quiz, right? And some of you didn't do very well in this one. I'm going to talk about every single question because I feel like there's uh, points where it's easy to make mistakes in every single question. So for the first one, it says so whenever you attempt any surface area and volume questions, you need to first make sure, are you finding the volume or are you finding the surface area? In this question, it says find a volume. So you just need to do, you need to find a cross-sectional area, right? So what's the uniform, um, what's it called? The uniform face. And in this case, it's going to be the front face, which is a trapezium. So for this trapezium, you know it's the two bases, which are the two parallel lines, are 2 and 0.8. And the height of it is 50. So that means the area of the trapezium is half times a plus b times height. So you have half 2 plus 0.8 times 50. So this will give you 70. So that's meter squared. And then the volume is going to be the cross-sectional area times the thickness of the solid, which is 21 meters. So you times them together. This is the answer, right? Question 2. So for this cone, it's asking you to find the exact area, so curved surface area. So for a normal cone, you have pi r L plus pi r squared. But which part is the curved surface? It should be the top part, the front part, right? You don't need to look at the base because it just wants me to find the actual cone part. And to work this out, you have pi is just a constant, r is 7, you don't have L yet, right? In a question, you're given the perpendicular height. So you need to do Pythagoras, and this will give you 25. You just do square root 24 squared plus 7 squared. That's equal to 25. And because the question says exact, you need to keep the pi there because pi is a non-recurring decimal. So if you keep a whole number for me, or if you keep 2 decimal places, you are rounding. But exact means there shouldn't be any rounding at all. And in this case in particular, you just keep pi. And you times the numbers together. So 7 times 25, that's 175. And you put the pi at the end. And a lot of you lost 1 mark for this. Question 3. First one is just volume of a pyramid. So question A is a third A times H. A is the base, which is a square. And the height, the perpendicular height, that's given to you. And the answer should be 1280 centimeters cubed. Question B, show that the perpendicular height of the face is 17. So this is the perpendicular height of the face, of the triangular face. So that means I'm looking at the height of the triangular face here. So it's the slant height, right? Even though it does use perpendicular in the question, it's saying it's the perpendicular of the triangle, not the perpendicular height of the pyramid. So for question B, you have this right angle triangle, 15, and this is half of 16, right? This is 8. So this side is going to be 15 squared plus a squared in a square root, and that's 17. Question C, find a total area. So once you have the height of each pyramid, and you know it's a squared pyramid, the surface area is going to be 4 triangles plus the base square. So you have 4 times, half times base times height. Base is 16, height is 17, plus 16 times 16. So that's equal to 800 centimeters squared. So the answers are 1280, 17. Actually, for this question, it's a proof. So your proof would just be the Pythagoras equation, and question C is 800. All right, question 4. You need to find the volume, and this volume is made up of a pyramid plus a prism on the bottom. For the prism, it's just x times 2x, and the prism is, the pyramid is a third a times h, right? A is the same as the base, it's x times x. The height that's given to you, x over 3. So you times all these numbers together. But you're not done yet. This question is 2 marks. And you can easily simplify this equation, right? And a lot of you made mistakes at simplifying. So x times x times x, that's x cubed. But the coefficients, the numbers are 1x, 1x, and 2x. So you do 1 times 1 times 2, which is just 2x cubed. That's what the first expression becomes, right? Plus a third times, this is 1x, and x over 3, this is 1 over 3 times x, right? Whenever there's not a number in front of x, that means there's an invisible 1. So you do a third times a third, which is 1 over 9, x cubed. So now x cubed is the like term. You can combine the numbers. 2 plus 1 over 9, x cubed. So that's 19 over 9x cubed in total. That's the answer. Whenever you collect like terms, or should I say simplify an expression, what you do is, if it's multiplication, you multiply the numbers together and you multiply the letters together, right? And for fractions, it's the same. Fractions times fractions. And when you collect like terms, x cubed is like term, so you put x cubed outside and everything else on the inside. All right, question 5. So it tells you this thing is a half cylinder and it's open at the top. So that means usually when we do the surface area of a solid like that looks like this, you will need to include the top rectangle as well. However, because it's open top, you don't need to worry about it. So all you need to do, for the whole cylinder, it will be 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. In this case, you really just need to divide by 2 because I'm cutting the cylinder into half, right? So you can just put in the number straight away. And also keep in mind, this is 40 centimeters, but on the other side you have 3 meters. So you need to change 40 centimeters into 0.4 meters first. So, and also this is the diameter, so r is equal to 0.2 plus 2 pi times 0.2 times 3 over 2. It should give you 2.01 meters squared. Okay, question 6. So this is a swimming pool, which means it's definitely going to be open top, right? It doesn't need to tell you it's open top, but you need to know that. That's common sense. And now you need to find the surface area of the pool. So you have the front face and the back face, they're the same. You can cut it like this into a rectangle, another rectangle, and a trapezium in the middle, right? And you have on the bottom, you can also cut it into rectangles. And on the sides, you just have 2 rectangles. So I'm just going to do for the side face, this is 2 times 12. This one here on the side, I'm going to do the straightforward ones first. 1.2 times 12. This one here is 1.2 times 15. This trapezium here, you have the base 1.2 on this side. This is 2, so this is also 2. So half times 1.2 plus 2 times, what's the height of this trapezium? It's going to be this part, right? You know the whole thing is 50. This side's 20, this side's 15. So this side's going to be 50 minus these two, which is 15. So the height of the trapezium is also 15. And you also have this rectangle, 2 times 20. And on the back, this whole thing is the same as the 3 things added together in the front. So I'm just going to copy them down. And I've done all the walls. I need the bottom part now, right? For the bottom rectangles, you have 20 times 12. You have, actually this part is what you need to find. But for this rectangle, it's 12 times 15. Now we can look at this slanted rectangle on the back. How do I find out this side? It's a slanted side, right? So that means I can use Pythagoras. So this is 15. It's the same side as the top. This whole thing is 1.2. So that means what's on the bottom is going to be the difference between 2 and 1.2, 0.8. So let's just take that out. It's 0.8, 15, and I want to know how much this side is. So x is equal to square root 15 squared plus 0.8 squared. Which is about 15.02. So that means for the rectangle on the slope, it's going to be 15.02 times the length of it, which is 12. And now you just have to add everything up, right? So bear with me because it's going to take me maybe 1 minute to add them. Okay, so after calculation, I got 802.64 in total. So that's the answer. 802. And also when I was calculating everything, I realized that I did this part wrong. I think I accidentally wrote it as times for some reason. So I changed the answer to the back face as well. Alright, now that you have the surface area, the total cost is going to be the surface area times how much it costs for per meter squared. And that's equal to 802.64 times 60. 48158.40. Okay. Question 7, last question. This is a truncated cone. So for this one, you can touch the top circle. You can touch the bottom circle and also this part, right? So this part is a cone with the top cut out. But the top is also another cone. So for normal surface area, it's going to be pi RL plus pi R squared. That's for one cone. We have 2 cones here. You can't just do the big one minus the small one because that doesn't include the top circle anymore. So instead, let's just work out the 2 circles first. So you have pi R squared plus pi R squared. The reason why I'm adding them up is because they're both on the surface. And then for the cone part, you do pi, the big one, pi RL minus the small one. Because the area difference between the cone parts is going to be this curved area, right? It's going to be this truncated part. So I just worked out the 2 slant heights already just to save some time. So as you can see, I just divided it. Actually, I took out the cross sections of the right angle triangles, and for the big one, the whole height is 26. 16 plus 10. And then this side's the radius. So I'm just going to write here as well. So the radius, this is 13, and this is 5. And I put them into the two separate right angle triangles, and I found the slant heights. And now I put everything into the calculator, right? So you have pi times 13 squared plus pi times 5 squared plus pi times 13 times 29.06 minus pi times 11.18 times 5. I should have written them in a different order, but it doesn't really make a difference. And that's equal to pi times 13, 6 minus pi times. So that's 1620.68 centimeters squared. So that's the end of the quiz. And let's look at just a few questions from assignment 8A. I think, so some of you asked me how to do question 6. For question 6, you have 2 hemispheres plus the ring, right? For the 2 hemispheres, it's straightforward, 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r squared. Now, for this shaded area, this is a ring. So you just have to find the area difference between these two circles. And notice the smaller one has a radius 4.3. The large one has a radius 8.5, right? So you can just do pi r squared minus pi r squared. Or doesn't really matter if you add the brackets. So 2 pi times 8.5 squared plus 2 pi times, that's 4.3 squared plus pi times 8.5 squared minus, pi times 8.5 squared minus 5 pi times 4.3 squared. So that's, once you put that into the calculator, you'll get it. So for question 8, to find this, it's basically 2 pyramids added together. If you're finding a surface area, it's a it's a square pyramid. You just need to find each single side's area, right? But it's basically 8 of the same triangles. So the surface area is equal to 8 triangles added together, because there's 4 triangles in each pyramid and there are 2. So for each triangle, you need to find out how much this side is. But you can't really find it out without any other information, right? It tells you the edges are equal in length. All the edges are equal in length. So if I'm just looking at one triangle here, if all the edges are equal in length, that means these sides are all equal. So it's actually a right angle triangle, a equilateral triangle. If it's equilateral, that means the height divides it into 2 equal halves, and it's also perpendicular. So you'll have, on this side, half of 6, 3. And this side, all the edges are equal, so it's going to be 6 all around. It's also 6. You can use Pythagoras. 6 squared minus 3 squared. And that's equal to 6 squared, 5.2. So it's 5.2 for the height, which means surface area is equal to, 8 times half times base times height. Base is 8, height is 5.2. So that's 24 times 5.2, 124.80 centimeters squared. For volume, you need to find this, the perpendicular height, right? I'm just going to rub it out so that it's clearer to see for volume, but I do need a slant height. So I know the slant height is 5.2, that's from the previous question. You also know that this side is going to be half of 6. Once again, this is a right angle triangle, so this side is equal to 5.2 squared minus 3 squared, which is 4.25. 4.25. And it's two of the same pyramids add together. So the actual height, actually don't worry about it. We can just do them separately. So it's going to be 2 times a third A times H. This part is just the volume formula for pyramids, right? But there are 2 pyramids. That's why I times it by 2. So 2 times a third times the base is 6 times 6. The height is 4.25. And this will give you the answer, which is 102 centimeters cubed. Alright, now, so for today's lesson, I want you to go on Trello and access last year's topic test and do these questions in your exercise book. I'll also upload the solutions maybe at the same time, but I want you to attempt the questions all independently by yourself. Mind you, I'll be able to tell if you actually copied working out from the solutions. So make sure you don't do that, because I might ask you to redo it again and I'll count it as incomplete. Once you've done that, can you just so mark it yourself, redo the questions you couldn't do before, and then submit your exercise book by 11 a.m. tomorrow. Thank you very much.